Hello and welcome to Talking Horses. Do not adjust your television sets. I'm Maggie Wolfendale filling in for Andy Sterling, who's earned some much-deserved time off, but here with my main man, Anthony Stabile. Yes, that's right, Maggie is back.
Maggie is back. I feel like I'm on vacation this week as well.
I promise not to yell at you too harshly.
Yeah, please. Over Under, folks, is the third race that I will get yelled at on this program.
Oh,
today.
what are you thinking, Anthony? No, I'm kidding.
At least you don't have glasses on to take off.
I literally thought about wearing them.
Wearing the glasses?
It was so close, but I was like, it's a sunny day. I kind of need my sunglasses on. So
You
yeah.
wearing glasses and him wearing glasses are two completely different things, which yours won't come off. You will keep yours on.
Because I can't see a thing without them. We do have a lovely weather day on tap. Track is muddy and harrowed to start the day.
It looks, I'll tell you what.
Considering the rain we got?
I was here yesterday getting some stuff done in my office, and I thought Sloppy was absolutely the destiny of today's racetrack condition. They did a fantastic job on this track. And we really haven't had a lot of sunshine.
Right.
It was misting. I got home last night at like 11 o'clock. It stopped like misting. It didn't stop all day. Yeah, it didn't stop all day.
Just wet. And I mean, even Tuesday leading into yesterday was
Yeah.
wet too. So yeah, we're muddy and harrowed to start the day, hopefully with some drying out conditions throughout. We have a 9-race card on tap, and we also need to tell you how to play today's races. If you're not a member, become one today and earn that $200 deposit match bonus when you use promo code MATCH200. Make sure you check out NYRABets.com. And to go along with that, we have the middle pick 4. You got some thoughts, I'm sure, Anthony.
Starts in race 3 today.
Starting in race 3, so make sure you play that as well. And also teaming up with a little harness action. Got the $10 bonus when you bet 100 on Yonkers, you get 10 back. It's easy as that. It's on Thursdays, and make sure you
Opt in. That's good.
And
like Jordan and Pippen up here. We don't lose anything. She's Jordan, by the way. For the record, she's
I don't
Jordan.
know about that.
I do.
Can you jump as good as Jordan?
I can't jump.
I can definitely be as aggressive as Scottie Pippen.
There are fleas that can jump higher than me, my dear.
Anyway, the Aqueduct Saturday contest, $300 buy-in, cash and seat prizes, now with a 2,000 seated pool. Register at NYRA.com/contest, and Saturday's card looking pretty good as well. As we'll jump into the action. Race number 1 here. It's a maiden 25 for the state breds, going the 6.5 furlongs. And Anthony, this is one where everybody's had a lot of chances.
This is quite a scramble.
Yeah. I mean, we both saw it the same way, right?
Yeah.
I remember watching the race with Ray Handel with New York Supreme and going, oh man, Ray, if you go sub 23 on this racetrack at the moment, at that level, you are going way too fast. It's like going 21 flat.
Even the 46 and change. That's
right. And she had to be hustled to get there after braking a bit slowly.
You know, if you go back and watch this replay, she actually did not run as poorly as that running line suggests.
No.
She was gone almost 10 months, broke poorly, rushed in, like you said, I mean, insane early first 3/8 of a mile. Even the half was quick. Probably needed the race. So now she goes back to a barn where the current trainer was the assistant at the time and got this horse ready as a young horse.
Amira Shashakli.
Amira Shashakli won a couple of races last week. Barn's going good right now. A couple other horses have hit the board. And like you said, Maggie, a lot of these horses have had a lot of chances. And most of the ones that have had chances do not have a stitch of speed. And you would imagine off the layoff, with the blinkers coming off, maybe she's a little more settled down and a little more, it's a little more of a natural look for her. If she gets in front of these horses, you would imagine she's going to keep going today.
Yeah, and Big Bean Christine, who many of these do come out of that common race, she came back to flatter the form, winning that non-winners of 2 for 16 with the 64. It's kind of the logical step after breaking your maiden here, and it just felt like New York Supreme, who looked like she needed the race last time, ran like she needed the race, and she also too, with the blinkers off, she just had a short cheater cup on. So again, not changing too much, just maybe a little bit more settled. The wild card in here is number 7, Warsaw, whom Chris Engelhart does have good numbers when switching from turf to dirt, and it's a small sample off of 6-month plus layoff with maidens turf to dirt. It's a very small sample, but 2 for 5. The problem is,
there's no third pedigree here. No.
Yeah, the War Dancers just feel so much better on turf.
Yeah, this horse has 115 months. Ran for a special weight first time, so can't come back for the waiver today. In for the quarter. It's December 8th. No turf left. So,
Yeah.
and this horse actually ran okay first time for a horse that went to the bench for 15 months. This horse ran really well first time out.
She's a wild card.
She's a wild card. I mean, like you said, a lot of them, they've all had chances.
Decent price.
The horses you and I have 1, 2, 3 in whatever order are 0 for 9, 0 for 14, and 0 for 11 from the top down. So if you want to try a fresh face, have at it. You got to get a little bit of a price. If she's the 7-2 she is on the morning line with her pedigree, she's not worth a flyer. She's 6-1 like she is now, maybe a little higher. You can bet a few bucks on her.
I mean, it just seems time and time again watching races with Chris Engelhart switching horses back to the dirt or to the dirt, they just run a bit better than what you might expect despite their pedigree. As race number 2 is a claiming 12-5 for the fillies and mares going the 6 furlongs. Linda Rice does take out Melting Snow, who we'll see tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Yeah. And leaves in the stronger half, I think, of the entry with Prairie Fire in here. And she's a reclaim for Linda. I think she was chasing 3 wide last time behind Adelaide Mess, who took them gate to wire. It was a decent enough performance, a little bit disappointing, a little subpar than what she's capable of, but I just thought really interesting getting back into Linda Rice's barn where, at times she had done some of her better running. This is the third time she's had her.
That's what I was going to say. It's not on the card. This is the 3rd time Linda's had her, and if my memory serves correctly, 2 years ago, right around this time. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, she was win 1999, the day Silly Key. I was in a booth that day. The day Silly Key was number 2000. I want to say she won the 5th, and Silly Key won the 8th or the 7th, won the 7th or the 8th. So she was 1999.
Cool.
And this is the 3rd time, like you said,
Cue up the Prince.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Anyway,
she should be. I'm sorry, Maggie. She should be a better price now.
Right.
With Melting Snow, with not having to. You knew one of them was coming out. Jose Loscano was named on both, and the other filly. She should be the better price. That 7-5 was probably more a reflection on Melting Snow's figs than her figs.
You think?
Yeah. Based on speed figures, yeah, probably.
Okay. I just thought she should have run better last time. Adelaide Miss was a questionable favorite that day in that claiming 10. She was favored. It was a slight disparity between the two. But I thought Prairie Fire should have won.
Yeah, she didn't run as well as you'd like last time, but she's getting back to the place where she's done the bulk of her best running in her career, and maybe she can, Linda could help her refine that form.
I want the greatest love in here. This is another reclaim, protected here for Charlie Baker, who is the owner. And I always think it's a positive sign when an owner-trainer decides to protect a horse, because, I mean, it's all about, the economics a lot of times when you own your own horses, and Charlie is very good about that. So the fact that she comes back here now, it's a wet track again, which she did not run well on up in Saratoga, as the beaten favorite and well-beaten favorite. But there are times when this filly has run very well, and it was the one race for Charlie was very good.
And Maggie, if you really, it's the same level, right? But you feel like that race was so much tougher than this race top to bottom.
Yeah.
The horses she faced last time. Also, keep in mind, we haven't really addressed this yet because we haven't seen it too many times. The old waiver rule was 6 months. It is now 4 months.
Yep.
So when you look at this and see that this filly's in for the waiver, filly is in for the waiver, that's why it is now down to 4 months. So, I think my biggest problem with her, or my bigger problem with her, was you kind of handicapped for some moisture in the track, and she really hasn't done too much running in her wet track races. But listen, first time Charlie, there's a lot of things to like about her. I wonder if she's going to be as close in price to Prairie Fire. I wonder if she might be favored over Prairie Fire now with melting snow out of that entry. I really do. I wouldn't want her as the favorite, but she could obviously win.
Okay, we're both a little interested in a Fleet Diva, who might be, the best price of what you're getting in this field. And if you can forgive her for her last effort, which I thought she went, again, probably a little too quick for the level, for the racetrack. It was a track in which it was questionable of whether you wanted to be down on the inside, and she was. And Rudy actually has decent numbers, second off a 4 to 8 month layoff in dirt sprints. He's 8 for 35, 23%. So that's good enough for me to consider a filly who maybe she's a little light on figures, but the company that she has kept in the past, some of those horses would be 1 to 9 in here.
Off of her last race, you would imagine she's the speed in here as well.
Right.
And that could help her chances in here, but against some fillies who, namely Prairie Fire and Greatest Love, who, they're not really in the best of form. One's coming off a 5 month layoff. Maybe they don't want to pass anymore.
Race number 3 will pass on to this one. In the race 16, Claimer Non-2 Life, going a mile. And
I had one goofy opinion today. This was it, and the horse scratched.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I liked
Raining Candy today. Yeah. I liked Raining Candy sitting off My Beauty Princess today.
She was chasing down on the inside, probably not the place to be last time. So, you would have to think at number 5, She Caught My Eye, is going to take a lot of attention in here. She's stretching out, and the only time that she has won a race or been relatively competitive, period, has been when she's been able to control through slow fractions going to 7/8.
I don't know.
That's got to be the game plan here.
I would imagine they're going to try and get in front of these horses. I would imagine Jorge Vargas Jr. on the 2 My Beauty Princess realizes that, and also realizes that he can take her best weapon away from her by being aggressive. The blinkers go back on My Beauty Princess, and I would imagine that from an inside draw coming out of the chute, knowing that one of your main rivals, who's the morning line favorite, is going to try to use her speed, I can't imagine he's going to let her get too far away. Even if she does, we talk about this a lot, right? You want to talk about a one-fig horse. 16, 71, 25, 31. Her other figs combined are 1 point higher than the 71.
But I will say that she does drop off the claim, which isn't always the most positive move for Linda Rice either. But it was a much tougher field too. Yeah,
listen. In context of this heat, her last 2 races have been.
There are 3 next time out winners coming out of that 25.
Yeah, it's like three filly and mare Breeders' Cup sprints. I get that, I do. But we say sprints, and now she's got to do. She's going to have to. When I like to bring Harvey up whenever I can, and I ask her to do something as the favorite she's never done before, and that's go to mile. And I don't know if she can get loose. If she can get loose, she can win. But I don't know if she's getting loose on a deuce in here.
We both opted to take that other speed alternative with the blinkers going on My Beauty Princess. I think she is the one that kind of sits the right kind of trip in here. Do you think she does beat She Caught My Eye to the lead?
Here she is. I think she leaves her position. I think she leaves her position. And you see how aggressive Jose Lezcano is. If I'm Jorge Vargas, I come out of there running. And if Lezcano comes out of there equally as aggressive, I acquiesce and I let him go. But if he doesn't, you take the bull by the horns and you put this filly on the lead today.
You also see April Antics in here too. She's going to be rattling down the middle of the racetrack. She's one that could win here. I just have such a hard time warming up to her. When you see her in the paddock, she's just my anti-horse. She's everything I don't like to see in a horse.
Anti-Khaleesi. I never heard this. I never heard this angle before.
There's very few that meet that criteria. She's one of them. So I could not bring myself to use her on top. She did run fine.
Anti-Magony? Wow. I never heard of this. Sounds like something you can get in a lot of trouble for. Anti-Magony.
Don't go again. No, I'm kidding. Race number 4, Claiming 20, going a mile. We did see the plain one come out of here. Dark Storm will not play for the Cantomasis, but we will see the 1A Pioneer Spirit in here. And kind of coming out of a common race that we see several. He's actually had a start since then, but did face Bourbon Bay as well as Hammer and Armor in their last meeting together. And Pioneer Spirit, this horse has such a cool record. If you look back through his PPs, he started off, I feel like, with Linda in New York, ran on the turf, but actually won a race on the turf.
Yep.
Brad Cox claimed him. He ended up winning the Tenacious, the 5th season at Oaklawn.
He was knocking around stakes horse in the Midwest, in the Southwest for a while.
Doro had him as well, ran well for him, and then he kind of lost his way, but now he's kind of regained it yet again for the Cantermassies, who reclaimed him as well way back when, earlier this year. And I thought he ran well. It was a determined effort. He battled hard on the front end. He was hustled to kind of get there, and he was hustled to get there last time going the 9 furlongs. The problem is the mile. Does he get to control here with the presence of Kristen Dave, who is, I think, the horse to beat, and the horse that both of us put at the top?
I think he is clearly the horse to beat. So does David Aragona, made him the 75 favorite. We're not giving you, I'm not going to say it's ice in the winter, but we're certainly not solving the Sphinx here with this pick. Pioneer Spirit is problematic for him.
So is Truculent.
And so is Truculent to a degree. And what was strange about it last time, Maggie, I bet on Kristen Dave last time. And he was given, I thought, an unusually aggressive ride. He's a horse that sometimes when he'll break, and Kendrick will kind of just let him do his thing on the front end. And look, he's as consistent as they come. He got beat a neck. He got beat a couple of lengths by a horse in Eben, who's turned into Cigar around here. I don't know what's gone on going the flat one-turn mile. And then he comes back with this race last time, and Kendrick, I thought, was really, really aggressive with him, putting him down inside and making sure he got to the lead.
For the most part, that race kind of held together. No Salt and Outlier just tracked him. Cause I think Kendrick really didn't want to necessarily get his face dirty too much, and
Well, it should be okay here because again, Kendrick's won a few more races than I have, but I would imagine that you let Pioneer Spirit break from the inside draw and go, and just kind of keep him outside and keep him in the clear and keep Kristen Dave out there. Might be one of the last times we see Kristen Dave as well. He's 9-year-old and he's had a fantastic career. You look at this race, there's so many cool, you go through this race, I was doing this on Tuesday. Pioneer Spirit's a millionaire. Grump's Little Tots earned almost $400,000. Kristen Dave's earned almost $900,000. If Kristen Dave wins today, he'll go over the $900,000 mark. Hammer and Armor's a $500,000. Truculent's earned $250,000. The horse with the least earnings in here is Bourbon Bay at $221,000.
Yeah, which is very respectable.
Yeah.
In its own right. He could be interesting too. When he came back off the layoff, I thought he ran well behind Pioneer Spirit. His last race, though, just did not kind of move me the right way, but still, he gets a little extra ground to work with. Maybe the mile is his sweet spot. Truculent's an odd one. I don't know what to do because he is dropping significantly in class, even from the 40 that he was in two back when he was claimed by Gustavo Rodriguez.
Than this. Yeah, much tougher.
And he was asked to get to the lead, but he just couldn't maintain it. Those horses are just faster than him. Blinkers going on. Now he's run 3 times as a 2- and 3-year-old with the blinkers and has run last in all 3 of those starts. So, age is a funny thing. Sometimes horses decide they need things or like things, and maybe he'll like the blinkers on, but going by past experience, not sure if it's the right move.
I've gotten peculiar in my older age too, so.
You are peculiar.
I don't blame you. You only knew.
Race 5, interesting maiden special weight for the New York breds, going the flat mile here. And I thought of many ways you could go. I ultimately landed on number 3 in here, Inspector. But let's start by talking about, you put Drake's Passage on top. What do you like about Drake's Passage?
I'm sorry?
What do you like? Because he's the son of Tonalist? Are you kissing up to Christoph?
I'm not kissing up to Chris. Lane's End tweeted out some picture of my boy yesterday.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
handsome.
that face. I love that horse so much.
He's so handsome.
I think I'll tell you what, you want to talk about a horse that's supposed to like a wet track with his pedigree, tonalist out of a Speightstown mare.
Yeah.
I would imagine I think he liked it last time. I think the stretch out's going to help him. Chasing at going 7/8 last time. Now he gets the flat mile. You know, I would imagine a little bit more ground is going to be better for him. So I wanted to take him at a little bit of a better price than some of the more obvious horses in here. You know, Bourbon Chase beat him last time, obviously, and I just feel like Bourbon Chase did a little less running than he did last time. It just kind of picked him up late.
I absolutely agree with you.
You know?
Between the two, I know I kind of, maybe this is just in honor of Todd, and Drake's Passage is another one I'm a little bit against from what I saw from him in the paddock.
Okay.
But he's run fine. He's actually run really well in both of his starts, one being on the turf and one being on the muddy track. I can't let Inspector go again. He is a horse I really have liked in the paddock. He was so much more professional, at least in the preliminaries last time, and he comes out of a fast race in which Don't Lose Cruz wired the field that day, and the Mariachi would come back to win with an 85. He's run fast in both of his races, and Inspector just niggled that the whole way, and then he was kind of steadied halfway through the turn as well, and then he ran on a bit mildly while not being asked to whatsoever, and he was just kind of all over the track a bit, just still a bit green. I think the stretch out to a mile mitigates the fact that he's had some trouble getting out of the gate, and the fact that, too, he just looks like a horse that needs to go longer. He can't keep pace going those 6 furlong distances, and he's one that, like I said, I've liked a lot in both of his 2 efforts physically, and I think this mile really suits him.
2 sprints to a route. You see these Asmussen horses sometimes kind of round themselves into form, and yeah, I mean, I think I wound up putting them 4th, right? This was an interesting maiden race. It's like you said, you know, Bourbon Chase, we both have him 2nd. And not 4 to 5 in both of his starts. He ran better in his debut probably than he did last time out. Starquist has come back to be okay, but I mean, he really did not do a lot of running last time.
Well, that's the thing. It's like these Todd Pletcher horses who are about, at 4 to 5.
And he's going to be 8 to 5. I mean, in a race where I think you can make a case. We didn't talk about Warner Winner, who you have 3rd. You can make a case for him. You can make a case for Inspector. Zapruder is cutting back and going to the dirt.
Definitely has the pedigree.
Yeah.
He used to have to blind Willie McTell, who's a multiple New York bred stakes winner going on the dirt. Duquesne Whistle won on the dirt. Blackjack Davy won on the dirt. And he's a Lauban. They've actually had more success on the... So it's an all-dirt pedigree for the most part. And...
Everything Rick Schosberg saddles has been running well. That's the 5 Sharpaz.
I have no idea why you have Tom's horse 3rd.
Well, this was the horse that made the crazy run from the moon last time. Maybe he can dirt. I'll tell you what.
He is bred.
He's going to be the longest shot on the board in a race where I think there's going to be a vulnerable favorite. And as much as I think Inspector could improve as well, with his connections, my racehorse, he was 7-2 and 2-1 in his first 2 starts. So there's going to be some. You can hunt and peck for some value in here. And that's why I put a little bit of a horse that I think will be 4 or 5 to 1 on top. I threw Tom's horse in. I hope Inspector gets lost in the shuffle today.
All right.
That's a wide open race. There's
It's
a first
really
in here.
It's definitely the funnest race.
Yeah.
I think on the card because scratches are really annoying later on.
And it's the toughest. It's a tough race because it's a crossroads race. It's the last leg of the early pick 5. It's the last leg of the early pick 4. It's the 3rd leg of the middle pick 4, and it's the first leg of the late pick 5. So they have to do a little margarine in here, a little spread job.
It's definitely a spread race. As we will take a quick break here on Talking Horses after these messages.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
And thank you, as always, to Saratoga Water for supporting Talking Horses. And I can tell you, you can't see it. I mean, that's just one of
How many we got there?
14
3, 6,
of them
4?
up here on
Yep.
the side of.
Oh no, you made me count. That is 13 bottles here.
Ooh,
Oh
unlucky.
no.
Oh, bad juju.
No, there's 12.
It was a baker's dozen.
I've had enough. Listen, believe me. I had the curse of St. Nicholas Day the other day. Please forget about
Well,
it.
that thing, whatever his name is creepy enough.
Please, I don't like him either. My ex-girlfriend got me good the other day. Got me good. The curse of, she told me she would haunt me on St. Nicholas Day. Tuesday was a doozy. Wow, was Tuesday a doozy.
Okay, so superstitions around the racetrack, we all know that. But my man right here probably takes the cake. I mean,
do.
my dad was sick as well. Like, you couldn't wear red. You couldn't park next to a red car if you had horses in. It was like this whole red thing.
I got everything from the cliffhanger. If I watched a cliffhanger on Price is Right, you might not even know this one.
I think you've told me this, actually.
And he doesn't fall, I don't make a bet all day. So
Was
if I
it-
really like a horse, I don't watch. I do not watch. And I'm here.
Do you watch The Price is Right
I
every day?
used to. I was obsessed with it when I was a kid. If he didn't fall, if cliffhanger came on and the Yodeler didn't fall, there was a riot
Yodeler.
in my house. An absolute riot.
Oh my God.
Tantrum in the playpen in front of the TV.
We had a thing going for a couple years, the guys in the office. We actually had a tournament based upon The Price is Right.
Really?
Bobby, Ernie, Jay,
Wow.
and I. Yeah. Anyway, race number 6, optional allowance for the New York Reds, going the 9 furlongs, and annoying scratch for me. Top pick, 6%, out. You know, it's a whether you believe in Sundays with Sandy's last race. Was it an aberration? Is he really a horse that is actually meant for the dirt? Because he has gotten better. You know, some of his turf races from this season may suggest that as well. Or is he just now a dirt
Is he
horse?
getting good? That I think, Max,
yeah.
I think that's the question, right? Because was it the switch to the turf, or is it the fact that he's just maturing
Yeah.
and getting
Could
better?
be.
I'll tell you what, 6% coming out of here, I would imagine is going to make Boss Making Boss Moves, the horse that I picked on top, a big enough favorite to try him again, because this is another one fig horse, you know, especially on dirt. I mean, he ran 11 points higher than anything he had ever run on the main track. His turf races were slightly faster, especially recently. I didn't take a look at the morning line. David's morning line, yeah, it's a wide open morning line. You see, it's funny. You and I are kind of on different pages, and we're
That's
on
supposed
the
to be-
same page.
That's
or
supposed to be 6124 for me.
the 6124 for Maggie, guys. You and I are either locked and loaded on the top pick, or we're on complete opposite sides of the spectrum today. And that's
Yeah.
that doesn't often happen. Normally, we agree a little bit more. I think if Prince of Pharaohs is your favorite in here, that's the absolute reason to bet this race. I don't like him for a dime today. Now,
Okay.
he's the 3-1 morning line favorite. I don't know.
Why don't you like him?
I don't think he wants the 9 furlongs.
Okay, I could hear you on that one.
I think while he's supposed to be the speed, I cannot imagine after that Sundays with Sandy is going to be too far behind him. Baldassar, though slow in his races, has ones on every one of his points of call except the first one of his career. I would imagine these two horses are going to be forward and give him as much as he can handle for the first 5/8 of a mile for a horse that I don't think really wants his. I know he won going the mile on the 16th. I made a good bet on him that day. But again, you want to talk about a race that lives on an island. He was able to control on the lead, and he went fast enough on the lead. But he figures to have some company. I mean, if you're to believe Sundays with Sandy has gotten better, you have to imagine he's going to be forward today. And that has to bury this horse's chances on the outside.
See, I don't think they go with Sundays with Sandy. I think they go with Baldassar with him and Harkey aboard, and he's stretching out to the furthest distance. It's weird, you know. He's a weird horse. He freezes on the racetrack. He
Yeah.
doesn't want to go in the gate, and now he has his third different rider on. But him and Harkey's been breezing and working horses for the Bonds for quite a while now, so I'm sure he's familiar with this horse. But he beat 2 other rivals, and they were turf horses.
Yeah, turf horse and a horse that's 100 to 1 every time he runs.
Correct. So he's a little suspect. I just thought Prince of Pharaohs, needed the start. It looks like he always needs a start coming
Yes,
back off of
that's
any
true.
kind of layoff. And I just thought he was kind of unaggressively ridden last time. And I think, I would hope that Lozano is aggressive with him, but he draws the outside. I know we're going to 2 turns, kind of mitigates the theory of let him break and figure things out.
It's only the
because he's gotta
five.
get
It's
to
only
the
the
turn.
it's only the 5 hole now with the scratch.
Yeah,
So
right. So I can totally see Boss making boss moves be effective here, especially if there's still some moisture left in the track. He's
Yeah.
a horse that certainly, I think, prefers it. He just, he never picked up last time. And I will say, though, he did take a lot of kickback, but he was supposed to run better, I think, in that last race.
he was. I'm starting to think he's just a wet track horse. His 4
I'm
biggest
not
his
gonna
4
disagree.
biggest figs have come on wet tracks, and I just think that he gets some moisture today, even if it's a little bit. He gets some moisture today. I think and I believe, again, if you're in my camp here, you believe there's going to be a little pace. So if there's a little pace,
and
he
last
gets
time
his
he
pace to
got a
run
little
it.
pace,
Yeah.
he won the Albany.
He got no pace last time.
No.
He got no pace in his last 3 starts. I mean, well, one was going a mile and a half. Right. He won the Albany. The race against Price Discipline.
You had to be forward and
Yeah.
inside on
And
that
he
track.
only wasn't made up
at
any ground.
Parks, too. Look, I'm not against him. For me, I always seem to land on, 90% of the time the horse is going to be more forward.
Yeah.
And just
I
feel like
usually,
there's
I
less
ordinarily do
trouble
too.
to
But
encounter.
I just feel like there'll be too many of those in here.
Race in number 7, maiden 20, going to 6 furlongs for the fillies. Another doozy in here. I don't know, did your
Another scratch
guys?
for
I
you.
sent in revised picks. Am I sending them to the wrong email?
No.
Because
It's happened sometimes. 4-2. What do you want? 4-2-3 what?
4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1, guys. Yeah, this race, it's funny. She was the same little fuzzy. I didn't have her on top. I had her third. But she was the same little fuzzy in here in a race that didn't look very interesting. I thought maybe Charlotte sometimes.
Yeah, because remember, she was like this
Yep.
secret horse, or I should say this wise guy horse, first time out that, the buzz.
She was a secret horse that was 7-5.
Yeah,
Or
right?
7-5. Everybody was like,
buzz.
yeah, everybody was
She took a lot
whispering
of
about her.
steam, yeah. So ultimately, I just landed on the drop down with Divine Wine. I don't like her that much, but
I'm taking a page out of the book you just quoted. I just want the horse that's going to be forward. Gracefully Wild.
Yep.
I think Gracefully Wild found her friends today.
Yeah.
And she just goes to the top and
Yep.
keeps going. Boy, I'll tell you what, 9-2 on the morning line. If she's anything around 3-1,
She can't
I would bet her today.
yeah.
I bet her, and I don't like to bet maiden 20s to win, but if she's 3-1 today against these horses, going 6 furlongs, I mean, that's the other thing, too. Going 6 furlongs, it looks like Divine Wine's going to need a little bit more ground. I know she ran 4th in that off-the-turf race up in here at Aqueduct off the long layoff, but she came from the moon.
Yeah.
And they did not go fast at all. If
I mean, I
Gracefully
definitely
Wild-
think she needs blinkers
Yeah.
on. That's like the biggest positive draw for her, putting the blinkers on. But I agree with you. Like I said, I scratched into Divine
Mm-hmm.
Wine. I'm not proud of her, but I think Gracefully Wild could take them on a merry.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Race number 8, really affected by
This is annoying.
scratches. That's supposed to be 4-1.
Wow.
What email am I supposed to send my picks to?
I don't want to give it out on air. I'll probably get a
I
lot of
know.
smut.
4-1 for me in here.
So you did the smart thing.
I went with the speed.
The other 2 speeds scratched, and you picked the one that was left standing.
Yes.
Who's cutting back, and
Yeah.
I almost did it.
Wednesday.
I almost did it, but I figured you would because you're
Don't
a lot
you think- and
sharper
look,
than I am.
Dennis Lallman has done a fantastic job
Amazing.
with Masienko. But isn't there going to be some point in her career where she does turn back into, as Andy likes to say,
The
proverbial pumpkin? Now, last time, completely up against it.
And that was a
Stacked 6-1. Like, what was Luis Ice doing?
And you want to know something, Maggie? I can't. We get paid to analyze races, obviously, right? Andy makes fun of me without not watching the replays. I had to have watched that replay 10 times. That was one of the weirdest races I've ever seen run in my life.
Yeah.
And I can't even give you a better word for it. It was just weird. Bankston looked like she was going to be last at the top of the stretch.
It was
She gets
such a weird
beat
race, you're right.
a length and a quarter, right? It's just a goofball race. Now, here's a win. I mean, never
too
thought
bad.
these words would come out of our mouths. The win machine, Mosienko, 4 in a row. 4 in a row. Look at her she finds the wire
She
now.
finds. And I will say, you know, that Iroquois, Bankston comes back and runs a 96. Secret Love comes back and wins with an 85. Fourth, Betsy Blue comes back and runs.
She ran third in the Go for One, and then went on a track you couldn't make up any real ground.
Right. So.
I couldn't look past her. I know Fuette's the speed now.
And it's not like she's
without
devoid of speed. Right. Like, Masienko can sit right off Fuette, too. So I just thought Fuette's job got really easy in here.
It did. It got a whole lot easier because when she's able to control on the lead, she usually parlays them into galloping wins. But I'm going to take a shot with Mosienko dropping back in, coming out of just a monster. I mean, you really think about that renewal of the Iroquois. What a bunch of nice New York-bred fillies running around here.
And then November Rain wins.
Yeah.
She did not come back to run well, but I think she just kind of she tripped out of it in there. Yeah. Race number 9, an interesting way to end the day. Starter 12-5 in here. Again, my tops. Those are the wrong picks because the 4 scratched.
I knew that was coming.
7-9-5-1 for me in here. As I scratched into the favorite in here. Anthony, easy day, ran well. Again, a little bit of an outlier as far as his fig is concerned, but it's not like Brilliant Ben didn't come back to, he
won the full highway. He won the full highway
with a 98.
These starter allowance races are so much fun because you see that. That's why, we've never had it, but I love our claiming championship day in March because you see these horses, here he ran in the start of 10, and the horse that beat him came back to win the Grade 3 Fall Highway. There's Silly Key again. Silly Key's on the card too.
Yep.
Just mentioned him earlier. He's really a cool horse. He wins a lot of races. He's 4 for 10 this year, 5 for 11 last year. I mean, when you go to these bottom levels, even to the starter races, you want to find these horses that win. And here he is. When's this one from?
This is the Greeley and Ben.
Last time.
Yeah. And he's on the wide chase here. You see Greeley and Ben with the white blinkers, black and white silks. Here he's going to come in. Preston Scott Lake owns and trains this guy. And, he gives Greeley and Ben everything that he wants. He makes a charge at him, just not quite as good, but I think he's definitely good enough to win this field because Steiner, he's cutting back in distance to the 7 furlongs. And last time out was a 3-horse race. Yeah, Ruby Blue came back and won, 83 Buyer. And this guy knows how to win, and he's been very consistent for Jeffrey Engelhardt. But my problem is that he feels, if you look at his form, he looks like a 2-turn horse, doesn't he?
He does. He absolutely does.
Because it's like he gets out there and he can kind of harness his speed. Now he's going to be on that long and elongated sprint down the backside.
It's weird because there are a lot of forward-looking horses in here, but they're not very fast. I would imagine Trouble from the rail and Jose Gomez, who's the quote-unquote sprint speed in here, is going to take advantage of that. I almost put him on top for that reason. Because I feel like you look at FF Rocket and you're like, all right, FF Rocket has some speed, but he's really not as fast as Trouble. And, you look at a horse like Steiner and you're like, he's not as fast as Trouble. Even Nutsy. Nutsy comes out of that wildly fast race at Finger Lakes. His other races where he's close, these horses just aren't that fast on paper. I think that plays into Steiner's running style. I agree with you. I'd rather it be around 2 turns for him. But if he was going to find a 1-turn race that wasn't at a mile and was at a 6.5 or 7 furlong distance, I think this pace dynamic, on paper anyway, is something that should fit his running style.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with Trouble, and I can see him winning, is that he did ride a gold rail last time, but he goes out for Dangerous Connections for the first time in Antonio Arriaga. And then 2, I mean, is he really that fast? You know what I mean?
He's not, but he's faster.
Going this distance.
And again, everything is intent. From the rail with Jose Gomez in a race full of forward horses that aren't particularly fast. I do believe he's the fastest. And when you combine believing he's the fastest with thinking the intent is there from connections who are aggressive, you would imagine he's the speed. And I think, if he's 6-1, that he is on the morning line. And I don't know what Colonel Bowman I imagine the 8 was 50 to 1. I can't imagine what the 4 was on the morning line.
9 to 2.
Sorry?
9 to 2.
Okay, so the third choice on the morning line comes out. You know, I would imagine No Trouble's going to be somewhere in the 9 to 2, 5 to 1 range now. But, you know, if Easy Day's sitting on the board at 7 to 5, and you see O Trouble on the board at 3 times that price, that was terrible.
I'm sorry. I was like cramping up. I had to.
It was like a bowl of Rice Krispies sitting next to me just now. I would just imagine he's going to go, and I'd like to be able to just lean on the 2 favorites in here in the late pick 4 and the late pick 5, but I think you got to use O Trouble for the fact that I think he's going to be the speed in here, and that might be enough. You know, when these horses get in front of these forward types that don't go very fast, they're able to sprint home and just get away. So he's a little dangerous to me in the finale.
All right, well, that'll do it for this 9-race card here on Talking Horses. As always, if you want to play today's races, make sure you do so with your NYRA Bets account. $200 deposit match bonus. Use promo code MATCH200. And we are also offering that middle pick 4 today.
Can't wait.
Starts in race number 3. You know, it includes that tough 5th race that we were talking about too. So get your thinking caps on, and a little harness action as well later on.
Hilltop.
$10 bonus. Hilltop.
The Marshall calls the pace. That's what it's called. It's called the Yonkers is called the Hilltop as well. It's on top of a hill.
Oh.
Not the old Hilltop like
I
Pimlico.
was going to say,
The
infringing
Hilltop.
on my home state.
Sorry, kid.
Opt in at NYRABets.com to play and earn that $10 bonus at Yonkers. And Saturday, we do have the contest, $300 buy-in cash and seat prizes now with a $2,000 seated pool. Register now at NYRA.com/contest. Well, that will do it. Will we hear anything else from you today? You doing any prattles?
No.
Okay.
I was not asked. Got
Okay.
a couple of blogs to write, a couple of other little what have you to do. You're in the paddock?
For a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you all for joining us today here on Talking Horses at the Big A. Johnny I is up next with a reprise of Scratches and Changes.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit Saratoga Spring Water